I'm going to pause it till it starts on YouTube. Just give me 1 second. And then there is a YouTube chat, so if anybody joins, you can see them. I'm going to pause it. So, all right, welcome to Rewired 360, Journey Through the Eyes, the EMDR podcast. And I am Kathy Couch, your host. And we are here with Rewired 360 today. We're a curriculum-based university-like setting for clinicians and private practice owners with all the consultations, templates, and tools for your practice. And we also help clinicians learn pathways to become certified therapists and consultants with the CEO mindset. I am Kathy Couch, and I am the owner of Rewired 360, as well as Willow Creek Counseling, where I do EMDR intensives, grief and loss therapy, and regular private practice. So I'm out here in Twin Falls, Idaho, and today is the day we've been waiting for. Yay! I have 5 people that I've never met, but I'm going to meet here soon in California, in Anaheim. This is our EMDR pre-conference event podcast. So we're all going to be meeting in person in about 13 days. So I thought we could get on here and kind of, me as a first timer being down there, maybe have some people we can, connect with. And so today we're just going to be talking about the EMDRIA conference coming up and just kind of any kind of questions, comments about the presentations, things like that. So I'm going to have our guests today introduce themselves, where they're at in their EMDR practice, and maybe then we'll kind of get into it. So I'll just kind of let you guys dive in and see who goes first.
Bingo.
Okay.
So, hi, I'm Becca Mahan-Strupp in Madison, Wisconsin. I own Reflections Mental Health, which is a group trauma and attachment private practice. And then I also own Rebecca Mahan-Strupp, SC, DBA No Longer Driftless, where I do my therapy intensives, ketamine, and therapeutic fly fishing with EMDR. So
Ooh.
I'm in a great area for that. Very exciting. And I'm an EMDR consultant as well as IFS level 2 trained. So I really like blending the two models. But I'm really, really excited for the conference. I miss everybody since Summit last year.
That's so good. So we're going to be talking about for our viewers the difference between the conference and summit. So we'll put that down here. I've never been to that either, so we'll be talking about that. Nice to meet you. Yeah, that's so fun. I'm in a place too in Idaho where we have lots of fly fishing, so that's super fun. All right, let's just go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, I'll go next. I'm Tony Parmenter. I live in Vermont, and I'm also a first timer. So you're going to have to teach me or Renee how to do the first time thing. I don't even know what you're talking
Renee
about.
taught me.
Yeah.
So it's like a
Oh,
little thing you put on your face, and it says
Oh,
first timer. So Renee's the gal how to do it. So
oh,
yeah,
it's
anybody
like
else?
LinkedIn where it says open to work, but it's like I'm a first
Yeah, it's
timer.
kind of
Come
like
put a
that. Yeah.
sticky note on my back or something like that,
Yes,
right? Yeah.
yes.
So I live in Vermont and I run a practice called STAYU Institute for Health and Training. And I also do therapeutic fly fishing with EMDR. Actually, Becca came out and trained with me last year.
Oh.
So, and in addition to that, I do lots of other fun things, integrating EMDR with all kinds of practices, intensives, ketamine stuff, nature-based work in office. And I also made a fly fishing rod. So that's kind of fun, the
Wow,
EMDR.
good for
It's just a fly
you.
fishing rod, but it helps me do my therapy better.
Oh, that is
Um,
so
but
cool.
yeah, but I'm really looking forward to the conference. It's been a
Yeah.
really long time since I've been to a big professional conference like this, probably 12 or 15 years. And I'm super excited. I don't even remember what I signed up to learn. I'm just happy to be around other EMDR therapists and network. That's just going to be a lot of fun. So,
Yeah, it is
um,
going to be a lot of fun. And I haven't
yeah.
been to like a big one like that I was totally invested in for a long time too. So this is going to be fun to like meet people, and I'm really grateful that we're having this and not in the pandemic. I mean, I can see you guys, but I want to get the vibe. So I'm so excited to go in person too.
Yeah.
So good. Okay, Renee, you want to go, and then Carrie?
Yes, yes. Hi. So my name is Renee Seff. I am in New Jersey. I'm licensed in New York and New Jersey. I have a private practice where I focus on EMDR. I also do IFS work, and I'm certified in clinical hypnosis. So I incorporate that into everything, which is really cool. I've been doing EMDR. I met Tony actually at my first EMDR training summer of 2019, and then started to pursue certification. So I've been doing it, I guess, 5, 6 years already, and it's completely transformed my practice and my clients. It's a wonderful, wonderful tool. And I'm really excited to go to the conference for many reasons, to enhance my practice with EMDR, but also I love networking and I think it's going to be a good crowd. It feels like a good vibe.
Yeah, I'm excited too, just to be in the presence of people that get it. I think sometimes when I'm trying
Yeah.
to explain EMDR to people, they're like, "What?" Or, you
Yeah.
know, the neurobiology part. So I think that's good, and I'm excited. And I'm excited to meet you too.
Yes, yes.
Okay, Carrie.
Hi, so I am in Baltimore, Maryland, and this will also be my first conference.
Ooh,
Um, so I'm excited that I'm not alone in the first time gang.
yes.
I have been doing EMDR for about 5 years now. Um, I am just trained, so I am, working on increasing my skill set. And right now, I work with a group practice as well as see clients privately, but I'm working on shifting to private practice totally.
Good for you. Yes, it's totally worth it. And this is going to change the way that you experience life. So that's so good. Um, Becca, you already went, right? You were the first. Okay, good. So have you been, Becca, to the conference before?
I've just been to Summit, so I'm very excited. I've live streamed the conference, but I'm very excited to be in person.
Okay, so I was hoping that we'd have an OG on here that would give us some tips and tricks. We didn't get that, but that's okay. So let's just talk about what are we looking forward to and what kind of uh, what do you guys think is the session that's going to be most captivating for you?
I am super excited about all the different somatic presentations. I always want to be in more than one place at a time, but I think it's the final session on Sunday. I can't
Yeah.
remember what it's called, but it was like a nature-based indigenous
Yes.
mindfulness kind of tree process. Tony, do you know what it is by any chance?
Yeah, it's Jennifer Marchand and Lacey Poltoreski. I have it right here because that's the one I was going to say I'm really excited to go to. Yeah, Jennifer Marchand wrote the first book doing about integrating ecotherapy and EMDR. It just came out this year, so I'm really excited to kind of hear what they have to say. I know a lot of their work is centered around kind of expressive arts in nature and using that in different ways. So that's something that I'm super pumped about.
So do you
Yeah.
all, with the fly fishing experience, do you connect that with EMDR or is that a separate kind of practice? How does that work?
Becca, you want me to answer that or do you want to?
Yeah, Tony is the creator of the protocol, so he is definitely
Oh,
the
you
one to.
are? Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah.
Presents!
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, well, so the using fly fishing to facilitate EMDR, when I started doing it back in like 2020, it was really just like me on the river noticing that I was doing eye movements every time I cast.
You did a
But it,
Marsha Linehan moment, right?
yeah. But it, and
Marsha Linehan, I'm sorry, Francine
DBT. Yeah,
Shapiro.
I was thinking I was trying to I said yeah, but I was like I don't know how I don't know her
I'm
origin
sorry,
story.
I went Linehan, but I meant it was Francine Shapiro.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, so pretty much. And then but it's developed a lot since then to be just a fully like you're a somatic experience in nature because you're surrounded by everything happening around you. All your five senses are activated. Even if you're not casting, your body's doing these micro movements in the water that are kind of like natural BLS because the water's moving, so you have to adjust your weight. And it's just the fly fishing allows for you to have a direct connection to nature, but it's really the way we teach it and practice it is it's a basically a holistic uh, type of ecotherapy to do EMDR using whatever methods you're already really good at. So Becca and I are both, kind of parts work oriented therapists. So we do a lot of integrating in that way, adventure based stuff, attachment based metaphors. You can kind of use nature for doing any of that, But the cool thing about doing any kind of nature-based therapy is, you know how in EMDR we're like get out of the way, stay out of the
Yeah.
person. You end up staying even more out of their way and
Okay.
create even more space for them to process, even though you're right there, kind of still holding the process. It's really beautiful.
Wow, that sounds
Yeah,
amazing. Becca,
yeah.
would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I think it kind of sounds like out there and crazy. In Wisconsin, we have the driftless area, so it's just beautiful and it's, out in nature. But I actually do a lot of my I do outpatient sessions. They're covered by insurance, which is a whole thing. But I actually do it in urban settings, and so people can come for an hour and they still get that piece of it. It's not just a let's go out for 8 hours in the middle of nowhere. So it's been really fun to adapt that to a more urban setting.
That is so cool. Yeah, I think there's definitely opportunity for y'all to come out to Idaho and do some training out here. I've never done fly fishing, but I think it's totally, I love that the protocol can adapt to so many different kinds of ways.
Connect with
Um,
Kim. What's Kim's last name? Why am I blanking?
Cordero.
Cordero. Connect with Kim Cordero in Boise. She also does this out there.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
she also is she runs the Mayfly Project in Boise, which is separate from therapy, but they take groups of adoptees out fly fishing. It's a national nonprofit. She runs that. She's great. You should get in touch with her.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
incredible.
She always has nice nails too. It's like,
Oh, that's so
yeah, she does it
good.
all. Yeah.
For that,
Becca
yeah,
too.
she
Becca's
does
got
do
good
it all,
nails when she
doesn't
fly
she?
fishes.
Ooh,
She's
not today.
outdoorsy.
Yeah.
What about you, Carrie or Renee? Any kind of sessions you're looking forward to, or maybe an experience you're excited to have?
I'm actually looking forward to the yoga. Like I love just kind of getting up and like having a slow start to the morning. So like I'm excited to like pregame with just centering myself and like woosah before
That's a
diving
really
into
good idea. So I have twins that are 5 and then an 8-year-old. I'm going solo. So like that idea didn't even cross my radar because I'm usually just like up and going. So that would be a really good opportunity. Is it at 7 a.m.?
I know it's early. It's
Okay.
sunrise yoga. So
Oh, that would be so good. I'm gonna
yeah, I
put
think
in
it's
my yoga
before
pants.
breakfast.
Yeah, I'm putting stuff in my suitcase now so I don't forget anything. So I'm starting to put things in. Or any of you having a table there or anything? I'm gonna have a table there, so stop by my table. And we're gonna have a raffle. So I do EMDR t-shirts. So I have a t-shirt that says going with that since 1987. Let's EMDR that shit. Just some other fun things. So I'm gonna have a t-shirts display there. You can order them online. And then we have a raffle for a basket and for some shirts. So that's gonna be fun. I'm trying to get all of that stuff down there. We have to have like a company that you can ship it to handle it and then get it to the event. So it's a whole process, but I'm just gonna kind of go all in and just try it. I don't know. So I'm trying to pack my stuff and get it all down there and including my yoga pants. So that was a great tip. I love that. Anything else maybe that you're excited about?
I have some t-shirts too, but they're a little bit more weird. They're loosely
Oh,
EMDR related. I'll see if I can bring one to give
oh,
you.
that will be fun. What about you, Renee? What kind of things maybe are you looking forward to?
Yeah, so there's a Friday night drink thing that someone had put together, like a networking thing that I think is going to be really exciting. In terms of the academic piece, there's a polyvagal one. I think it's on the 13th that I'm looking forward to. I've been trying to strengthen my understanding of all of that because I feel like I end up doing a lot of explaining to clients, and I just think that that would help me. And then there was another one about incorporating humor into EMDR,
Yeah.
which when
Oh,
I'm not tech support, I'm a comedian.
you
So I thought
are?
that would,
Oh,
no, I'm not. I'm not.
that's
I'm
fun.
joking.
Oh,
I'm
you're not.
totally
Oh,
joking. Right?
okay.
That's one of my jokes. So I'm excited to learn how to kind of incorporate, I guess, just more of my natural personality
Yeah.
to my practice. I think that would really be helpful.
So I'm a grief therapist. It's called thanatologist. So I'm certified through the Association of Death Education and Counseling. And so I'm trying to kind of bring grief work into with EMDR. Roger Solomon on Sunday has kind of been the go-to guy for EMDRIA. And so I'm going to go to his event Sunday. I tried to see if I could get a flight out of there, but because of his event, I ended up staying till Monday. So that's the one I'm kind of looking forward to. And he does so I do all of the theories of grief, and he does just one specific theory, mostly with grief. And so he works a lot with first responders and traumatic grief and mourning. And so I'm looking forward to that one. I wanted to ask, when are you guys getting there? Are you guys
Oh
coming?
gosh, I'm in early. I think I'm in on Wednesday, the day before the consultant day.
Are you going to consultant day?
Yeah, and then I'm actually staying till Monday as well, just for flight times and stuff. So if anybody wants to connect post-conference,
Yes.
I'd love to.
Okay. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
staying till Monday too, and then the consultant day I'm going to as well. Is anyone else going?
Yeah, I'll be there. I'm getting there Wednesday at I'm getting to LAX at 10, and
Okay.
then
Is
I don't
that
know
too
how
much?
lifting there or something like that. But I'm taking a red eye at 11 p.m. on Sunday, so I'm pretty much there.
Yeah.
But going to consultant day as well.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how to get there because I'm sure it was what, 25 miles. I'm flying into John Wayne, but it's still a bit of a drive to the hotel. So I'm trying to figure out the way back and trying to get some tips and tricks back.
I
Because
think I
Oh,
saw
there.
on the app that there's people, I thought there's people coordinating around ride shares and things like that.
oh, okay. So
Yeah,
there,
check the discussion boards. I do have some tips from Summit, but the discussion boards, there's always taxis and meetups. The networking and the meetup groups are amazing, and they'll continue to pop up throughout the conference. That is a great place to meet people in kind of those niche areas. So
okay.
they're
So is
really,
this
really
meetup and
good.
virtual meets? Is that what that is?
Yeah, people meet up for lunches and dinners and drinks, and sometimes it's for a couple of hours, but sometimes it's for just 30 minutes over a lunch hour, and you can kind of pop around. It's a lot of fun. It's probably my favorite part of the in-person meetings.
Oh, really? Oh, that's a good tip. Thank you so much. That's so good. Yeah, I have a grief one. I'm looking here. We have clinicians of color, Alaska providers, nature-based therapist lunch. Oh, there's so many more now. Okay. I wanted to ask, this is more of just a curious question for people that have done provided ketamine therapy. I'm doing a 101, just very basic course for general therapist ketamine integration. So my story is I was kind of looking at psychedelic based or ketamine assisted psychotherapy where I'm at in Idaho. Oregon is more the place where people were. Uh, it doesn't have any rules or laws really around psychedelics, as far as I know. I might have not said that correctly, but it's more open, let's just say that. And so now I'm licensed in Oregon. And so here, what was going on was I was finding this ethical dilemma with providers because people were trying to find ketamine for treatment resistant depression. And they were saying, oh, I went to a provider and he gave me, he said, just order some mushrooms online and trip it home. I'm like, okay, there has to be a better way to do this. And so that's what kind of sparked my interest of really quality care. And then recently we just found a provider that has a protocol. I'm like, yeah, like the medical provider, right? And so I'm trying to learn how to kind of integrate that. Can you guys share maybe where you started, some tips and pieces, maybe some trainings? I know that there is I'm going to the ketamine training at the conference. Can you guys maybe kind of share some tips and tricks about the ketamine experience and maybe, practice wisdom that you have had over the years?
Yeah, I love it. I actually started pursuing ketamine for my own PTSD. I got really concerned going into the infusion centers that there was no set and setting. There was really just show
Yes.
up, get your IV, and go home. So in the
And
way
that
that
was
I do
ketamine,
things, I
right? That
jumped
was,
on EMDRIA and found Sunny Strasberg's training. Sunny is amazing. Her Theradelics book is the go-to, really for EMDR and psychedelics. She's incredible. So she talks a lot about how to integrate prep, integration, the actual therapy days. I work with Journey, so we do the clients connect with the medical piece and they do get their own prescription, but it's in a controlled setting. And it's just there's such a difference between going to like 6 infusions in 6 weeks or 6 infusions in 3 weeks versus Theradelics really can be at the client's pace. You have plenty of time for integration. There's no such thing as a bad trip working with the parts that come up. And it's slower. And I really think it's more effective because you can get ketamine infusions and it's like slapping on a Band-Aid. They can be great for a while, but
Is
you
that
really
I
want that change.
the infusions are IV?
Yeah, the IV infusions. And a lot of the clinics popping up, I worry about the ethical piece of that too. It's just you pay a decent amount of money, you have
Yes.
somebody sit with you, but there's just no support around it.
Yeah, my provider that I am connecting with, she says she's going to get assigned, don't waste neuroplasticity. And so I'm really trying to kind of partner with her as the go-to provider because I've had, a provider here. I'll get to you, Tony. I see you want to say something. I've had various types of take this and trip at home versus they went there, but the provider didn't really have like, I needed a protocol and I didn't know a lot about it. But I had a patient that had therapy abuse from a provider over a number of years, and she really was just chronically depressed. And she went to ketamine therapy and now is off her antidepressants and is doing so much better. And so was beginning kind of like an EMDR experience where, like, oh my gosh, it so works. And so I was really excited about that, but I knew that it needed to be sort of in what you're saying, like that supportive place to where we can actually enhance it. Tony, I'll kind of shift over to you now.
Thanks. Yeah. So I have a lot to say.
Good.
So I'll start out with like my ethical issue with ketamine, and then I'll describe like how I've found to offer it myself. Is that okay?
Very good. Yeah.
Okay. So around where I live, if you're going to get, there's not that many wealthy people. There's not that many people that can go just pay for infusions, if they
Yeah.
want them. And so, but the big problem with any of that, if you're getting infusions or if you're having your health insurance pay for S-ketamine, which only covers treatment-resistant depression and depression if you've had suicidality. Like if you have any other diagnosis, it doesn't cover that if your insurance covers that. And the big problem with both those models around where I live, you just show up and they give you the dose and they make you wait around and read a magazine until it's time to go home. And one of the places is a very large mental health hospital with 4 clinicians that do EMDR therapy, and I all saw them at like a psychedelic therapy conference like 2 years ago. So I know that they all can do this, but they don't offer that. So you have to go out and find that piece on your own. And with ketamine, the critical window or the critical period is like 2 days. It's not long. So you have to go get that done. Like don't waste neuroplasticity, like you just said. So, the best way to do it is to have a session where the person can go under and then you can process with them and integrate right away. And so, the problem is that health insurance for people like us that are just normal, like outpatient therapists doesn't cover that anymore. The American Medical Association got rid of, the CPT codes for extended sessions a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So it's really, you have to figure out your way around that piece. But um, I work with a local provider that has his own compounding place. He'll do the medical evaluations and the prescribing, and he'll mail them to the person. So if the person comes to see me, they have their own script. I don't have to get involved in that.
Yes.
I also work with Skylight Psychedelics, who are out of Colorado, and they're nationwide. Their prescriber has like nationwide licensing. So and they're really good. They're like $13 a dose. And so they offer like their kind of onboarding training too. So if you need any education, you can get into that. One thing you might want to do is also to get connected to like your local network of psychedelic therapy people. In Vermont, we have the Psychedelic Society of Vermont, which is run by Rick Barnett, and he's kind of big into the using psychedelics for substance use recovery stuff. So he's done a good job of bringing our local network together. And there's one in Massachusetts. That's what I mean, you can get trainings, you can school up your knowledge, but like to be around people and always get support is like really helpful. And the last thing I'll say is this one that's being offered at the EMDRIA conference, I'm really excited about, and I don't think I'm signed up for it. It might conflict with another one, so I have to check. But the way they do it is really interesting. They've been experimenting with people using ketamine while processing instead of preparing
Oh,
them, doing the journey, and then processing. They take the medicine and then you start processing apparently. So that would be something that would be really helpful,
okay.
for people that are working with insurance that only have like around an hour to work with somebody.
Right.
I'm excited about that. But
Now,
if you
is
look
that
up,
the, excuse me, Tony, just for one second.
yeah,
Is that the EMDR and psychedelic assisted therapy, or was there one specifically for ketamine?
that might be it. I'll have to look into that. But I know that
Okay.
the folks that have been doing that model, they're presenting, so I have to go look at that. But if people want a good resource, look up Rosalind Watts from England. Rosalind Watts started the Acer Foundation. It's great kind of peer support network around psychedelic assisted therapy, in England. And so she has a model, I think it's called the Pacer model or the PACE model.
Okay,
And it's meant for I think doing like psilocybin. So it's meant for having someone do a longer journey,
I
but it
see.
gives you what you need to help give someone a good preparation. There's this kind of induction script to help come up with intentions, and it's really cool. And then, with the EMDR, we just do processing for the integration.
And Kathy, I just wanted to add to another thing in the community that's really important is there is a principle of you should be doing your own journeys. You shouldn't be prescribing or working with any types of ketamine you haven't tried yourself, whether it's intramuscular, whether it's the IVs, the sublingual. I've seen recommendations that you should have at least 10 of your own trips behind you so that you're really understanding the process. And I do keep seeing therapists locally that are offering the therapy and trying to do the support, but they've never been through it. And it is not something you can do without experiencing, I think, ethically.
So I want to just kind of turn the tone to Carrie and Renee and kind of just involve you and just kind of have you kind of discuss anything maybe that you're looking forward to, or your thoughts on ketamine, or just kind of just touch base with you here in honor of your presence here. So anything you'd like to add or questions you have for, I would consider these two experts. Any kind
That's not something that I've ever considered using in my particular practice. So I'm just like getting information and learning. I have had one client who had been in therapy for a very long time. This is prior to me even learning EMDR. And she had been on like several medications and nothing was working. And she did try ketamine. She had actually taken a break from seeing me and wanted to try and see if that was helpful. And I think she did work with someone who, that was kind of their specialty. And then she ended up coming back for some like couples issues or whatever, but she said that it was really helpful for her. And she felt, that it was very useful in relieving like a lot of the things that she was dealing with. So I have heard like great things about it. Um, but yeah, that personally, that's hasn't been any of my area of expertise.
Yeah, and I'm always learning. So it's just as I get better at EMDR, I think you'll probably tie some things in that you're interested in and you'll get there. So for right now, I would say you're right where you need to be in that journey. Renee, any comments there?
I've heard about the ketamine. I know that, people I respect very much use it in their practice. It's just not for me. I am kind of just studying other areas. I'm more interested in the IFS and expanding with that and the polyvagal. Maybe
Yeah.
down the road it'll tie together at some point for me, but yeah, I like to just be able to practice with just two chairs.
Yeah, yeah. I want to talk for a minute about the difference between the conference and the summit. So, just kind of putting it out there. I know I've heard a lot of clinicians as a consultant ask this question, what's the difference? And maybe we'll have more clarity after this conference. So, what do you guys know or experience about the difference between these two offerings from EMDRIA? So, the conference, go ahead, Tony.
I was gonna say I know nothing.
Okay, so I think this is what I think. And so Becca, you can maybe help me out here. The conference is like, this is just what I understand about summits. We'll see when we come back. Maybe we should even do a post-event one to see what we enjoyed. Would you guys all like to do that? a posting.
Yeah.
Okay, let's,
Sure.
for our listeners, um, that'll be fun to see what we are. Well, anyway, we're all into psychotherapy, pre and post. But so when you think about this, I think the conferences for participants, therapists, those kinds of things. The summit is more of like research, literature, more of those kinds of topics. But I do know that one year, like the conference is on the East Coast or excuse me, West Coast where I'm at. And then the next year, it goes to the East Coast. So the summit, Becca, where you were at, was that up in Washington?
Yeah, I was in Seattle and it was wonderful. It was the
Yes.
last in-person summit before they decided to do summit online and conference in person.
Oh,
So they wanted to make it more accessible. So I'm a little sad about it. But yeah, the summit is more cultivated. My understanding it's invitation around certain topics or a topic. Whereas conference, you have your submissions and kind of standard, like also like research submissions, but it's a little bit broader.
yeah. So the
Yeah,
thing
I
is,
did the virtual summit this year. It was virtually, and it was, I mean, it was nice. I feel like it's just like a condensed version of what the conference is, kind of like an appetizer versus the main course. Um,
oh, okay, I
so
love that. Carrie,
yeah, I
you
felt it to be like
go.
very useful, like a lot of good presentations and yeah, it did feel like, I mean, you don't really get to like, have that same energy when you're in person, virtually. So it's kind of like watching lectures online versus, really kind of interacting with people. So but the information was really good. So
I'm curious about this. So we know EMDRIA is going to be changing, maybe you've heard, maybe not, the requirements for the consultants starting next year. Well, what do you guys think is coming? This is what I think. I think they're gonna maybe have us do a couple more trainings. I don't want to say this, but I will. EMDRIA is probably trying to make more money from, the training that we're going to have to take. But I do agree with I'm a learning perspective, community-based person. And so I do agree that, we probably do need some like consistent learning across how to teach. I think one thing that's missing is how to market. I'm a business person, marketer. What do you all think? What do you all think is coming?
This came up at Summit last year. So the consultant day speaker was amazing, and they were, I want to say UK, but they talked a lot about how in Europe and the UK that there was, Tony's heard my tangent on this before, that there's competency models, and they've been working over the last 10 to 12 years to develop competency assessment. I want to say in Scotland or Ireland, there's like an EMDR master's program. And the big criticism for the US-based clinicians, it's kind of pay to play. If you spend your money and you put your time in, it doesn't really matter how good or not you're at any of the tiers.
Okay.
And right, and it's a lot of kind of on your own merit to do not just your annual CEUs, but above and beyond that. So I'm really excited to have the idea where they sent the survey and they asked about what we thought would be include not just trainee competency, but our own as well. And I really, really hope we do something more robust with it.
Did you guys get to go? I didn't get into that feedback. Did anybody get in to that session where the EMDRIA was asking us as consultants for feedback? Did you guys get in?
Yeah.
You did. What was that like?
It just kind of, I don't know. I was a little disappointed when the conversation kicked off when like Europe's like, we've been doing this for 10, 12, 15 years. And I think it was literally at Summit where our board was like, we started talking about this last weekend. So I think there's a lot of good stuff. But I'm hoping we don't get tied down by all the red tape and bureaucracy because I think it's still just so
Yeah.
theoretical.
Yeah, I understand that. Go ahead, Tony.
I don't know if I have a whole lot to say.
Okay.
I think that one thing I've noticed is that like you've both been talking about, it's kind of like you're responsible for what you do when you're a consultant in training, and then when you become a consultant. And um, I found that like in some ways, uh, people get to that point to where they're a consultant, and that they still might not know how to work with complex issues. They've been kind of staying in this lane. And so I'm hoping that there maybe is a little bit more organization around like, okay, this is what we learn in basic training. But if we're going to expand that and work with more people and advertise ourselves as a more competent EMDR therapist, or we're going to train people, we need to know how to work with complex things and to be creative with that. So I'm just hoping that there's a little bit more consistency too. I've also had consultees who became CITs and then they're like, I can't get anyone to work with. There's too many CITs on Facebook offering things for free.
That's
They raise
me.
their hand. Yeah, and you're not the only
Hey,
one.
Renee, are you a CIT?
I am. I can't get anybody. I've been a CIT for like a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, in all fairness, I haven't really pursued, but I'm on the EMDRIA site.
I just think
Anyway,
there's
sorry,
too
back to you,
many.
Tony.
No, I just say it's
Yeah.
thank you for saying that, but I just
Yeah.
think there's too many people like you.
Yeah.
I've had a handful that I can think of right now, probably four people that worked with me for a while and they struggled. One person had employees, so they could get like one employee and that employee left, and so I hope that there's a little bit more. First of all, I'm glad that right now, if you want to be a CIT, you can just like say, okay, I'm working with Becca or I'm working with Kathy or Tony or whatever, and go. Like that's nice that it's easy in. But that also means that there's like a flooding of the market, and maybe there's people that really want to get better and skill up, and then you have a handful of people that maybe are just looking for letters after their name, and like in the space between are like people that are trying to become better EMDR therapists and find the right person to work with.
Here's
So
what I'm gonna say about this.
yeah,
So, I have so I've done some market research, and we have EMDRIA is about 17,000 members. I feel like they could support us a little better and engage us. I don't feel that sense of community. I'm all about community and engagement, as you guys know, like, and trust. Let's get together. I was gonna be a community organizer in my grad program and in Michigan, and social policy evaluation, community organizing. So I have that real sense of like, I don't feel that felt sense. I feel like, hey, let's just jump through this hole. I know when we went to the consultant day, the director, let me get this right, EMDRIA's guy, president, CEO, director, came from the marriage and family track. And so he said through them to re-credential, they had to go through certain trainings. I think that's good. But I also feel like we need to be engaged. We need to be heard. I feel like they could do some more with that. But I also feel like with this idea of the CITs not having people to work with, we have about 200,000 therapists generally in the US. Then we have 17,000 members, 7,000 certified, 2,000 consultants, and about 350 basic trainers. I feel like EMDRIA should, this is just my experience. So I applied for the basic trainer 2024, January. Then they went through this reorganization. They're relooking at basic training, trying to build these competencies. They're just too gatekeeper. And so they don't allow people to get, my thought is if we get more people trained, we'll have more people that Renee will have access to in her market. But they're not letting the process is still taking years to be able to submit a basic training and to help people. Like we can teach in the bachelor's and master's program, but we can't teach in the associate program. Well, you can't get your master's and bachelor's if you don't have an associate. So I have this kind of, I feel like they should focus just on getting people basic trained or basic trainers. It's just so gatekeepy. It's like writing editing a book versus like getting this overview of this process. Like they're just my experiences. It's a lot of, there's no period here, this isn't in this exact format, and it's like, well, you should be working out the teaching of it, teaching a bit. And so I'm not quite sure where they're coming from. I'm hoping to get a vibe about that, but if we could work on that, then it would open up the market for so many more therapists to enter so that we could have these certified and consultants and people that are working on that. So I'm feeling kind of like we could add a lot more in the model. And also, I'm trying to figure out where I want to spend my energy. Radical acceptance. Do I want to reform it? Do I want to, but I also feel like we need to look at these pain points and really think about that. I think I'm hoping that will come from more of a teaching model with consultants, because I think, we're therapists, we know how to do this, but how do we teach it? How do we convey our message? And so that's kind of what I'm hoping, is that will be some more. And I would really be interested to see what those competency models are. I think, like you said, yeah, we're way behind. And so I feel like if we could partner with those other organizations, it could be a really great thing. And I feel like we could kind of do better at that. So any other comments there? I wanted to talk about a couple other things.
Yeah, I will just say, like bureaucracy is terrible, but also standards. I think EMDRIA has charged now that the EMDR training world is so weird. Like, I get mailers every week for like learn, somatic EMDR from Bessel van der Kolk for $199 from
Right.
Pezzi.
Yeah.
It's like, therapists are looking for ways to help people, and also therapists don't want to spend a lot of money if they don't have to. And I think EMDRIA has to really set a standard and be clear about like why we're doing this, why the trainings are the way they are, and also like the less access there is to training, like you said. Um, if people can't get into a certain training, they're gonna go get the learning where they want to, and then they're gonna probably be harming people because they don't know how to do EMDR the right way. They're not getting the right kinds of support. And so that's just for me, like I find a little conundrum in that. Like,
Yeah.
I want there to be flexibility and freedom, but like, the standards can block people but also support what we're doing. So I'm looking forward to any conversations around that because I think that EMDRIA has the opportunity to really stand up and keep this work sacred for people,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that there's, when you mentioned like the cost element is that like I'm also an approved supervisor. So at my job I have, people that are LGs fresh out of college, like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and they want to know all the things. But they also aren't getting paid as well, and they're in internships and things like that. And so being able to afford a $1,200 training or $1,600 or however, depending on where you go, is not feasible, and then going to conferences and then, your insurance and renewing your license and all of the things that come with maintaining, just being a therapist and then adding in skills. There's a real, financial kind of glass wall where like you
Yeah.
can see the things that you want to do, but not being able to achieve it, then can be discouraging because you know that certain things work, but there isn't as much access. And so those are a lot of the conversations that I try to have in terms of like what keeps people from developing,
Yeah.
their skills.
And if EMDRIA doesn't let us, train people, the people are going to get trained by other organizations. So it's a missed opportunity for them, right? If they don't have access. Go ahead, Tony. I see you.
Yeah, sorry. Well, I just want to say like the cool thing I'm seeing happening right now is that there's some really proactive training organizations out there that are like basically seeing that, what you just said, Carrie. There's like this glass wall and doing what they can to work around it. Like we've always had HAP, right? HAP has always done a very good job of like working with nonprofits and government organizations and stuff. But there's a couple organizations, one I do some consulting with in basic training, just got a grant to do like train 400 therapists in Arizona for free in
Wow.
EMDR, right? And
Yeah.
there's other organizations that are out there
Right.
doing that too, and trying to make it accessible so people don't have to go get poorly trained by
Yeah.
some degree mill.
Mhm.
I saw a 15, no, 50, 15 or 50, I can't remember, credit like training from somebody online, and they weren't even an EMDR therapist, like, but they were
Oh,
some site, right? And they came up with their own kind of their own thing.
model.
And yeah. Um
So what is your thoughts around this basic training being held on the weekdays or the weekends? I have, the weekends is what I did, and I was just so exhausted the end of weekend, so it's for our listening audience, it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or holding it during a weekday. There's two schools of thought. Therapists see patients during the weekday, so let's have it on the weekend. We know we're going to the conference and it's going to be held also on a Sunday, Saturday, Sunday. Just what are your thoughts? There's a culture around kind of weekend work, and there's also a culture around let's have it in the weekdays. I've been to both. I was just curious about your thoughts on that.
I
Cricket.
think when I was like brand new and shiny and starting out, so I took my basic in 2015. And I was barely out of grad school and I was super young and super broke. And so it was that hustle culture of I couldn't miss clients during the week. But it was exhausting to do, like 4 days of practice, go to training, and then go
Yeah.
back right into my work week.
Mhm.
At the time, I just wouldn't have had another option. These days, now that I have the luxury of slowing down a little bit, I think just going with what meets my schedule, the ability to take some time off, but I have the benefit of that as an owner, if I'm being blatantly honest, and that's a
Yeah.
privilege.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, when I did my basic training, I worked for a state agency, and so like I could take paid time off. It was really nice.
Mhm.
But the thing that mine was over the week, Renee and I, we had it over the week.
Okay.
And the thing I liked about that is it forced me to just be in a better learning space. Um, and a lot of people who came had their own private practices. They had to manage that, like we're doing to come to this conference, right?
Yeah.
But and it was basically like a retreat. It was like 7 days long or something like that. And it was at a hippie retreat center. And I was just forced to be in a place that was good for my learning. And I still checked emails at night, for work. But
Yeah.
I think that if I were to do this, like the way that when I do basic training consultation now, facilitating, it is over the weekend. It's like Thursday, Friday, Saturday sometimes, or Friday, Saturday. And I have to go work during the week too as a facilitator. So, like, I think it works out really well for the people there, but you know, we do have to think about sustaining our lives. So for most of us, we have to make training fit into that. But I
Yeah.
think if it's possible to have it during the week and not go to work, if you have a way to make that work for you, the kind of longer intensive stuff or that's during the week, like I personally benefited from that more as a learner.
Yeah, I think it's one of these dilemmas, right? Of, what's going to be best. And for our mental health too, I think, like, kind of like to Becca's point, depends on our privilege. It depends on where we're at. And so I'm just trying to kind of clinician mental health, burnout. I know I felt like physically drained. Like I ran a marathon after weekend one. And I was like, oh, and then after weekend two, I kind of knew what to be prepared for. Tony, are you saying you went through the whole 40 hour training in 1 week?
So I was trained by Laurel Parnell.
Uh-huh.
Renee and I were
Mhm.
when she was still within the EMDRIA
Oh,
thing.
okay. Sure.
Francine was still alive,
Okay.
and so she does actually like excessive. It's like 3 parts. So you do in that training back then. You did parts 1 and 2 straight through,
I
and then
see.
you did your consultation hours, and then you came back and you did another like 2 or 3 days of a part 3.
Nice.
Um, yeah, so it was actually a lot. It was more like 60 hours probably than I'm not even sure how many hours total it was.
Interesting.
But yeah, that's how it was. And it was I liked it. And actually I have someone that I'm working with soon, the person that I'm training, that just did their EMDR training this year. They went through EMDR consulting and they did like a 5 day parts 1 and 2 all at once also. So I know there's that model out there that a number of people do.
Mhm.
And I do as an owner, I actually we're an EMDR clinic. Reflections was set up with that. We're EMDR and attachment at our core. So I pay for my employees training, and then I also pay them an hourly wage while they're there. So it's something that I'm able to do and roll into their benefits package. But it's also really important if I want that to be what my staff are doing and kind of focusing on. I really feel that being able to support that's important.
And so you have a group practice, is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Yeah, and is everyone else just private? I know, Carrie, you're at a clinic. Renee, are you private practice? Just
I'm in private practice and I do consulting for an agency and I supervise there.
uh-huh. And so you don't have like a group practice too. I think that's also a very different skill set as well. What about you, Tony?
I run just a private practice. In the past, I've had contractors work for me, and I supported as best I could them going to get it,
Mm.
to get the training. But yeah, I think it's smart if you can do your best as a business owner if you have employees to kind of support them in that because
Yeah.
what happened with me is like I got trained in EMDR and the opportunity came up for me. I needed to go to private practice because I was working too much and my wife was going back to school, so I had to
Yeah.
so I let my job with benefits go because I was getting too much. I was getting too many requests. Like so, when you learn EMDR you have this amazing superpower that a lot of
Yeah,
people want. And
yeah,
so if you want to keep people, if you're a business owner with employees, you want to keep them and foster them to grow, in your agency and do more good work, you have to support them from the beginning. So
so
I
good.
like that you do that, Becca. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, that is good. Yeah.
Yeah, when I learned EMDR, the place that I was working at, we got like a discount. It wasn't totally free, but it was a
Group
significant discount,
discount.
which I appreciated. And it was broken up into the weekends. So I love the weekends. I feel like I don't know what it is about once Friday comes. Like today, I have makeup on, like I like
Hmm.
live for the weekend.
Yeah.
And so like it was really great that I was able to do that just because, I have three kids and they are in school and they have after school stuff and they have, all of these things. And so being able to fit that in
Yeah, for
with
sure.
all of my other obligations was nice. So like I feel like I also work on the weekends sometimes. So I feel like having access to therapy, training, all those things is important. So what I do for my clients, I'm grateful when it's done for me to have
Yeah.
that ability to be able to do things on the weekends.
So I want to kind of give you each a chance to talk about as we kind of wrap up here, just kind of remind them of your name, your practice, any trainings you have, how they can reach out to you, any kind of goodies or details, and we'll kind of wrap it up. So who would like to start?
I'll start.
Yeah.
So basically the intro again.
Yeah, but the trainings, your website,
Okay.
kind of information if they're looking to work with you, where they can find you if you have a training that's coming up or anything like that, services kind of oriented.
Okay, so my name is Renee Seff, and I am licensed in both New York and New Jersey. My private practice is in central New Jersey. I am certified in EMDR and clinical hypnosis, and I do a lot of IFS work. I offer individual therapy in office. I also offer 2 or 3 hour intensives with EMDR, depending on the client's needs. I do present, but I don't have anything on the calendar right now. And if you want to reach me, you can reach me by my name, Renee period SEFF at gmail.com.
Very good. Yay.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Beautiful.
Hello.
Okay.
My name is Carrie Holland Lee. I am again in Baltimore, Maryland, but I am also licensed in Virginia. I am an approved supervisor. I'm an LCPC. And right now I am looking to grow in terms of supervisees. And so if you do need a supervisor, you can reach me at HW Counseling and the number one at gmail.com. I also work with a group practice. I work with Life Stance Health. They have offices all over, and I do virtual counseling there specifically. And uh, yeah, that's it.
Very good.
I do work with couples, families, and a lot of trauma. So those are my areas of focus.
Okay. Want to just go Becca, Tony?
So, I'm Becca Mahanstrup. I am based in Madison, Wisconsin, but will also have my license in Iowa soon. I'm an EMDR consultant. I am taking consultees. My website is reflectionsmhwi.com. And I own a group private practice for trauma and attachment. I personally offer, in addition to consultation, EMDR, IFS, therapy intensives, ketamine assisted psychotherapy, and then outdoor therapy, including fly fishing and Tony's protocol. Can I give my one last tip for the
Yeah, go ahead, girl.
Definitely, like it can be scary speaking in front of people, but like try to take advantage, ask questions during the Q&A, raise your hand. And if you get a chance, go up and talk to your speakers afterwards, or if you see them in the hallway, because people are people. It's a really great way to network and kind of meet, I think, like take that mystery of idols.
Yeah.
Like, go talk to people at their tables after their presentations and at lunch. It's a really good opportunity.
Awesome. I love that. Where can people find you? Your website.
Reflectionsmhwi.com.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Yes, thank you for that tip. All right, Tony.
Okay. So again, I'm Tony Parmenter. I'm licensed in Iowa and Vermont and New York and New Hampshire and Maine and Massachusetts. And I have offices in Des Moines, Iowa, Ankeny around Des Moines, and I have an office in Brattleboro, Vermont. And as a consultant, EMDR consultant, drug and alcohol counselor, mental health counselor, a lot of the work I do is within the complex trauma area. So, if anyone wants to get consulting in that area, especially if it's in the realm of doing kind of anything creative, nature-based work, reach out to me. I came up with kind of the framework of therapeutic fly fishing with EMDR. So I do offer trainings in that. It's been accredited by EMDRIA, for continuing ed credits and things like that. So I usually do a big one every year. And I do private ones also. So that's through my website, seiyuinstitute.com, SEIYU institute.com. And so you can find that there. And I also have a new training coming out called Sacred Ground, Sacred Self, or Sacred Self, Sacred Ground. In my mind, I can't remember which one I put first, but it's a 2-day, 15-hour training to help people get good at doing trauma-focused interventions outdoors, adventure-based counseling, ego state interventions outdoors, in nature. So that's not just for EMDR therapists, that's for anybody. So that's a new training that I'm rolling out.
So good.
And yeah. So if anyone wants to reach
Grateful to
out,
have all of you here. The expertise is just blowing my mind. I am Kathy Couch. I kind of want to have the EMDR sort of in a university type setting, build community. We have our free resource library, which has lots of EMDR tools and tricks. I have an EMDR with grief and loss training coming up in October. I have a refresher and a documentation course on documenting in the 8-phase protocol. And so, yeah, that's me. I work with Stephanie Pierce. We're doing a grief symposium in November. And email me at Kathy@rewired360.com if you're interested. I can give you the website. You can find me at rewired360.com if you're interested in our certification or consulting programs. And we are here for it. So we will see you all at the conference. We're so grateful to our listening audience. A big thank you and lots of gratitude to our guests. And we just planned our next event. So stay tuned and we will see our next follow-up. All right. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Thank you, Kathy.
bye. Thank you.